I dropped my wife off at the airport thinking it was just another routine business trip to San Francisco. But just as I was about to drive home, my 8-year-old son grabbed my hand, his voice trembling. "Dad, please don't go home tonight. I know something about Mom. You have to believe me this time." I looked into his eyes and saw real fear. I believed him, and we hid. And what I witnessed next still haunts me to this day. Before we get to what my son saw that made him beg me not to go home, tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from, and what time is it there? I want to know who's awake right now. Listening to the moment that saved our lives. Thursday night. SeaTac Airport. Rain speckled my windshield as I pulled up to departures. Kinsley leaned over and kissed me quick. "Already drove my Honda here yesterday for the prep meetings," she said, grabbing her carry-on. "So you've got the family car this weekend, babe." "It sounds good. See you Friday night. Love you." "Love you too." She disappeared through the sliding doors. Black blazer blonde hair pulled back every inch the professional heading to San Francisco. I didn't see the lie. Behind me, Lucas was silent in his booster seat, fingers twisting the straps of his dinosaur backpack. At 8 years old, my son was the watching type, the kid who noticed things others missed. I shifted into drive and merged into airport traffic. Just another Thursday night drop-off. Just another business trip. Just another. Lucas grabbed my arm. Not a tap, a grip. His small hand clamped onto my forearm hard enough to make me flinch. "Dad, we can't go home tonight." I glanced at him in the rearview mirror. His face was pale. His eyes were too wide. My first instinct was to sigh. Another worry, another shadow that wasn't really there. I opened my mouth to say something reassuring, something dismissive, but his hand was shaking. "Please," his voice cracked. "Please believe me this time." This time. Those two words cut straight through me, because he'd warned me before. The strange car parked across from our house 3 nights running, I'd told him he was imagining things. The phone call he'd overheard at 2 a.m, I'd said it was a bad dream. I'd dismissed him, patted his head, sent him back to bed. And now he was begging me to believe him trembling in the back seat, and I could see it in his eyes, pure terror. Not imagination, not anxiety. Real fear, the kind that comes from knowing something bad is about to happen and no one will listen. I was coasting toward the I-5 exit. Home was north, 20 minutes to Lake City. Our house with the blue door and the maple tree, the house that was supposed to be safe. But Lucas was shaking, and I'd been wrong before. I'm an engineer. I calculate risk for a living. And in that moment, with rain drumming on the roof and my son's hand gripping my arm, the math was simple. Risk of believing him and being wrong. We waste a night. Risk of not believing him and being wrong. Something terrible happens. The equation wasn't even close. I changed lanes. "Okay," I said quietly. "I believe you." Lucas exhaled, shaky, desperate. "You do?" "Yeah, buddy, I do." I met his eyes in the mirror. "I'm sorry I didn't before." He nodded, blinking fast. I took the exit toward home, but my hands were steady now. My mind was already problem-solving. If something was wrong, if Lucas had heard something, seen something, I needed to know what we were dealing with. I'd been buried in work for years. Late nights at Boeing weekends, catching up on reports, always chasing the next promotion. I'd told myself I was providing for my family, but the truth was uglier. I'd stopped paying attention to my own home. Not anymore. So instead of heading home to Lake City, I made a turn that changed everything. We were going home, but we weren't going inside. We sat in darkness, my truck parked beneath the shadows of 2 tall oaks, across the street from our house on the quiet Lake City block. I'd spent 2 years designing that house. Every beam, every system. It was supposed to be safe. Hours crawled by. Lucas dozed against the window. I watched our porch light the blue door, the maple tree swaying. Everything looked normal. By 10:45, I felt ridiculous. "Maybe we should just go check," I whispered. "Maybe you misheard." Lucas jolted awake. "Wait, Dad, please. Just a little longer." The desperation in his voice kept me there. But my engineer's brain was calculating probabilities, and they weren't looking good. Then headlights. No, not headlights. A dark shape rolling down the street with its lights off. A van. Black or navy, impossible to tell. No front plate. It crept past 2 houses, then slowed and stopped right in front of ours. My heart hammered. 2 men climbed out. Black clothing, hoodies up, faces covered. They moved with purpose. No hesitation, no nervous glances. Professionals. "Who are they?" I breathed. "The bad people Mom talked to," Lucas whispered. They walked up our driveway like they owned it. I expected them to force the lock, smash a window. I reached for my phone to call 911. Then one of them pulled something from his pocket. A key. My key. He slid it into the lock. The deadbolt turned with a soft click. They walked inside my house. How? My voice cracked. How do they have a key? There were only 3 keys. Mine in the cup holder, Kinsley's supposedly in San Francisco, and the spare we kept in a lockbox in her home office, the office she always kept locked. Mom gave it to them, Lucas whispered. I heard her. She said she'd leave it in an envelope. My wife gave strangers a key to our home, to the house where our son slept. Flashlight beams swept the windows, systematic, searching. Then I smelled it. Sharp, chemical. My brain cataloged it automatically accelerant, petroleum-based, not natural gas. Smoke curled from multiple windows at once. Professional job, multiple ignition points. They doused the house, laid trails, probably disabled the smoke detectors. Orange light bloomed inside, too fast to be accidental. The fire caught like it was meant to. Flames licked through window frames. Glass shattered from the heat. The 2 men walked out. Calm, unhurried, got back in the van and disappeared around the corner, just as sirens wailed in the distance. Someone else had called 911. I fumbled for the burner phone in my glove box. Dialed with shaking hands. Fire at 2314 North Lake City Way, fully engulfed. I hung up before they could ask questions. Strategic. I wasn't ready to reveal we were alive. Fire trucks screamed up the street. Firefighters jumped out, pulling hoses, shouting, but I knew they couldn't save it. The house was burning too hot, too fast. 2 years of work turned into ash. Lucas was crying. Soft, hitching sobs. I told you, Dad. I pulled him close, pressing his face against my shoulder. You saved us, son. You saved our lives. He had. If we'd been inside, if we'd been sleeping, those men would have locked us in. We would have had maybe 2 minutes, maybe less. My 8-year-old had saved us from being burned alive. As firefighters battled the flames, I made another call. This one to a person my father had told me to trust if I ever needed real help. Attorney Emberlyn Turner, Dad's friend from his union days. He'd pressed her business card into my hand at his funeral. 5 years ago, already weak from cancer. Keep this, he'd said. If you ever need someone who won't back down, call her. I only hoped she'd remember him. From my hidden vantage point a block away, I watched my wife arrive at the scene of the destruction she'd orchestrated. The Uber pulled up just after 11:30. Kinsley stepped out, saw the smoking ruins, and her performance began. Oh God, my family. Liam Lucas. She ran toward the house, heels clicking. A police officer caught her before she got too close. She collapsed against him, sobbing. I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. The fire chief approached. Ma'am, we haven't found any remains yet. The fire was extremely intense. Kinsley looked up, mascara running. They have to be in there. Liam texted me good night at 9. They were sleeping. But I saw it. The micro-expression when he said no bodies. Not grief, fear. She was scared they hadn't found us. Preliminary assessment suggests the gas system. The chief continued. We'll investigate fully. The gas system, her voice pitched higher. But Liam just designed it. He's an engineer at Boeing Fresh Sobs. Setting up her narrative. Blaming my engineering. I reached for Lucas's smartwatch, typed quickly. Hey babe, Lucas and I stopped for late dinner. Home soon. Sent. Kinsley's phone buzzed. She glanced down. Her face went white. Bone white. She looked up, scanning the crowd, the shadows. Eyes wild. No longer performing. Pure panic. She knows we're alive. I shifted into drive and pulled away slowly, no lights. Dad. Lucas's voice was small. Why don't we tell the police? I chose my words carefully. Because right now it's our word against Mom's. She has an alibi. Cameras saw her at the airport. We need proof first. Remember how I didn't believe you adults make that same mistake? Lucas nodded slowly. Evidence? Like on TV? Exactly. I drove to a cheap motel near SeaTac, paid cash, gave the name John Smith. The room smelled like old smoke and disinfectant. Lucas collapsed onto the bed, asleep within minutes. I sat in the bathroom door, closed my father's business card, trembling in my hands. Emberlyn Turner, attorney at law. 2 years ago, dying from cancer, Dad had pressed this into my palm. Son, I don't trust that wife of yours. If you need help beyond what police can do, call this woman. I'd been offended then. 1 a.m. I dialed, expecting voicemail. She answered on the third ring. This is Emberlyn Turner. Ms. Turner. My father was John Harmon. He gave me your number 2 years ago. If you needed help your wife couldn't know about. Her voice was steady. John warned me this might come. What happened? Liam, you know who I am. Your father told me everything. He never trusted Kinsley. Asked me to watch over you. Talk, quickly. I explained. Fire. Arsonist. Lucas's warning, the key. Hiding. Watching Kinsley perform. Don't go to police yet, Emberlyn said. They'll need hard evidence, not just testimony. Meet me at my office tomorrow, 9 a.m. I don't have evidence. Not yet. Her voice carried certainty. But I know exactly where to start your wife's car at the airport. At 2 in the morning, I left Lucas sleeping in the motel room and drove back to SeaTac Airport. Not as a husband dropping off his wife, but as a man hunting evidence of murder. The parking garage was nearly empty. Level 3, Section B. I found the silver Honda CR-V quickly. I sat for a moment. What if there's nothing? But Lucas's voice, I heard her dad. I got out. The spare key was on my work keychain emergency backup she'd never known I kept. I unlocked the driver's door and slid inside. Her perfume hit me first, then the chemical smell, the same accelerant from the fire. I searched methodically. Glove box, console, under the seats. My fingers touched plastic under the passenger seat. A burner phone. I powered it on. 15% battery. One saved contact, C. I opened the messages. 5 days ago, Kinsley. I can't keep living this lie. I want to be with you, Chad. C. Then do it. Insurance money. Fresh start. 4 days ago, Kinsley. I'm scared. What if something goes wrong? See, babe, I found the guys. Professionals. It'll look like his gas system malfunctioned. His design. No one suspects an engineer's mistake. 3 days ago, Kinsley, I got the $50,000. Cash. See, good girl. Leave the key under the back doormat. They'll handle everything Thursday night. I kept scrolling. 3 days ago later. Kinsley. What about Lucas? See collateral damage, babe. You want a new life or not? Can't have a kid without a father. Kinsley. You're right. No loose ends. The phone slipped from my hands. Collateral damage. She called our son collateral damage. I opened the door and dry heaved onto the concrete. 2 days ago, see Thursday, 11 p.m. You'll be at airport, perfect alibi. I'll be at gym cameras everywhere. Untouchable. Thursday morning, Kinsley. I love you. See, love you too, babe. Tonight we're free. By tomorrow, you're a rich widow. I forced myself to keep searching. Glove box bank receipt. $50,000 cash withdrawal. Monday. Kinsley's signature. Center console airport locker, key number 247. Life insurance documents. Liam $3 million. Lucas $500,000. Beneficiary. Kinsley Harmon. Trunk my blueprints. My gas system designed for our house. Covered in red circles. Kinsley's handwriting. Sabotage here. Make it look like accident. Blame design flaw. She'd studied my work for months, learned my engineering to weaponize it, turned my safety design into a murder weapon. I photographed everything, every text, every document, the blueprints, sent copies to secure email, then took the physical evidence, phone, receipt, blueprints, insurance papers. I sat in my truck shaking. I'd designed that system to keep us safe. She turned it into a weapon to kill us. I let myself cry for 5 minutes, then stopped. Engineer mode. I had evidence. Now I needed a plan. Dawn broke over Seattle as I drove back to the motel. I had texts and documents that proved conspiracy. But Emberlyn was right, we needed more. We needed to make her confess. By the time Lucas woke up Friday morning, I'd already met with Emberlyn Turner and formed a plan that would either prove my wife's guilt or destroy what was left of my life. Her office sat in an old brick building, downtown files, stacked everywhere family law certificates, lining the walls, photos of clients she'd helped. I spread the evidence across her desk. Phone photos, the burner phone blueprints, with Kinsley's handwritten notes. She studied everything in silence. When she reached the collateral damage text, she let out a low whistle. This is damning, Liam. But here's the problem. A defense lawyer will argue the phone was stolen, planted, faked. They'll say Kinsley never wrote these texts. My chest tightened. So it's not enough. It's strong. But we need her voice. On tape. Confessing. How she thinks I'm dead. Emberlyn smiled grimly. That's exactly why it'll work. You're going to rise from the dead. An hour later, Detective Tom Wilson walked in. African-American, 50s, salt and pepper hair. He reviewed the evidence with the expression of a man who'd seen too much, but refused to look away. 28 years on the force, he said quietly. I've seen bad things. But hiring someone to burn your own kid? He shook his head. Will you help us? I asked. Or is this, I know male victims aren't usually stop. His voice was firm. I don't care about gender. I care about truth. His eyes met mine. And I have a son too. Your wife tried to kill a child. That's evil. Something loosened in my chest. Someone believed me, someone with a badge. "We need a confession," Wilson said. "These texts are strong, but a good lawyer could dispute them. We need her voice admitting she hired those men. How we wire you. Public place. My team undercover. You make her talk." Emberlyn leaned forward. "Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Coffee shop on Capitol Hill. Public crowded cameras everywhere." Wilson nodded. "I'll have cops posing as customers. Barista. A couple at the corner table. I'll be in a van outside with the audio feed." "But she thinks I'm dead?" I said. "Why would she show up? Because we're going to make her think the bodies were found?" Emberlyn answered. She typed quickly and showed me. "Mrs. Harmon. This is fire investigator Armstrong. We found remains in the rubble. Need to discuss identification and insurance claim procedures. Can you meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m.? My stomach twisted. "You think she'll come? She'll be desperate to know if you're really dead?" Emberlyn hit send. We waited 2 heavy minutes. Then her phone buzzed. "Yes, where I need to know about my family." Marigold Coffee, Capitol Hill. 10 a.m. Another buzz, "I'll be there." Wilson stood. She took the bait. That afternoon he taught me how to wear a body mic under my shirt. Make her talk about the fire. Ask what happened. Mention the key. Bring up Lucas, then Chad. Defensive people confess. I practiced hands, shaking. Lucas watched from the motel bed. "Will you be safe, Dad? I promise," I said. That night, with Lucas sleeping beside me, I lay awake. Tomorrow I would face the woman I'd loved for 15 years, the woman who tried to kill our son. I had one chance to make her confess, one chance for justice, one chance to keep my promise. Saturday morning came with that crisp Seattle air that made everything feel possible. But as I walked into the coffee shop on Capitol Hill with a wire under my Boeing jacket, all I felt was the weight of what I was about to do. I arrived at 9:45. The cafe was crowded. Saturday regulars, espresso machines humming. "Check, 1, 2. Audio good." Detective Wilson's voice through my hidden earpiece. "Got you?" I whispered. Undercover cops in position, barista, behind the counter guy with laptop couple by the window. All Wilson's people. "Let her talk," Wilson said. "Open questions. Make her explain." I ordered coffee, hands shaking. Sat at the window table, Wilson specified. 9:58. "Breathe, Liam," Wilson said. "You got this." At 10:02, the door opened. Kinsley walked in, black dress, minimal makeup, hair pulled back. The grieving widow. She scanned the cafe, searching for fire investigator Armstrong. Then her eyes found me. I watched it happen. Recognition, confusion, shock that drained the blood from her face. She froze. Someone bumped her from behind. She didn't move. "Liam," barely a whisper. "Hi, Kinsley. Surprised to see me." She walked toward me like a zombie, sank into the chair, reached for my hands, trembling. I pulled back. "How?" Her voice cracked. "The fire. They said no bodies. No bodies because we weren't there." "You weren't home? Where were you?" "Lucas warned me. Our 8-year-old son saved our lives." Her eyes went wide. "Lucas, he heard you on the phone. Thursday morning, planning something. I don't know what you're talking about." "We saw them, 2 men. They had a key to our house." I leaned forward. "Our key? Maybe burglars. Burglars with a key who poured accelerant through every room." "How do you know?" "Because I'm an engineer. I know what arson smells like." Silence, her mind spinning. I pulled out folded papers, slid them across the table. Printouts. Screenshots of the burner phone texts. Every message to see. Kinsley stared at them. Her face went gray. "Where did you get these?" "Your Honda. Long-term parking. Level 3, Section B." "You broke into my car." "I used the spare key. The one you forgot I had." I pointed to the text. "This one. Leave the key under the doormat. You let them in. This one. It'll look like his gas system malfunctioned. His design." My voice broke. "And this. What about Lucas? Collateral damage." I looked up at her. "You called our son collateral damage, Kinsley." She stared at the papers. No words, no denials. Then she looked up, and her eyes had changed. Cold, calculating, empty. No more panic, no more pretending. For a long moment she just stared at the text. Then she laughed. It was bitter cold, devoid of humor. When she looked up, the woman I'd married was gone. Sitting across from me was a stranger wearing her face, and that stranger was about to tell me the truth. Kinsley's laugh echoed through the crowded cafe, making people turn. She leaned forward, and I saw something I'd never seen before in her eyes, complete honesty. "You were always smarter than I thought, Liam." "Why, Kinsley?" My voice cracked. "Just tell me why." She looked around the cafe, then leaned closer, voice low. Because I've been suffocating for 15 years, dying slowly in that perfect life you built. I married you because I was 28 and desperate. Biological clock screaming. All my friends had kids. You were safe, stable. Boring as hell, but safe. I thought having a child would make me happy. She laughed bitterly. 10 years of IVF. 10 years of needles and procedures and failures. $100,000 for a kid I never really wanted. I felt sick. Lucas. Lucas was an obligation. Her voice was ice. An expensive, time-consuming obligation. I played the mom, but inside empty. And you? God, you were never there, Liam. Always at Boeing. Always designing something. You married your career. I just lived in the house you bought. When's the last time you really looked at me? I couldn't answer. I was invisible. Then I met Chad, 6 months ago, at the gym. Her eyes lit up. He saw me. Really saw me. Made me feel alive for the first time in 15 years. So you decided to kill us? My voice shook. Chad has gambling debts. Bad ones. We needed money. She said it casually, like discussing groceries. Life insurance, the house. 4.5 million total. We could start over. Hawaii. New names. Free. It was Chad's idea initially, but I wanted it too. Your gas system. Perfect irony. I studied your blueprints for months, Liam. Learned exactly where to sabotage. Made it look like your mistake. Chad found the professionals. 50,000 cash. I left the key under the back doormat Thursday night. My hands clenched. And our son, she shrugged. Actually shrugged. What about him? He's 8 years old, Kinsley. 8. He was in the house. It was unfortunate. Collateral damage. That's what you called him. Chad wrote that. But yes, accurate. She leaned back. I wasn't leaving him behind. A reminder of you. A burden, quick death in his sleep, beats years of therapy and resentment. Her eyes met mine. I was being merciful, Liam. I stood up. My chair scraped loud against the floor. Merciful. My voice carried across the cafe. People turned. You were going to burn our son alive. Sit down, she hissed. People are watching. I don't care who's watching. I leaned over the table. Say it. Say exactly what you plan to do. Her face flushed red. She stood up, matching my anger. Fine. You want me to say it. Her voice rose, carrying through the suddenly quiet cafe. I hired 2 men to burn the house with you and Lucas inside. I wanted the insurance money to start a new life with Chad. I studied your engineering to make it look like your mistake. And yes, our son had to die. That was part of the plan. The cafe was silent, everyone staring. She looked around, realizing what she'd done. Sat down fast. Are you recording this? Yes. Her face went white. I opened my jacket slightly, showed the wire taped to my chest. Every word. Detective, you get that? Detective Tom Wilson walked through the cafe door, badge raised. Every word, Mr. Harmon. The barista dropped her apron, pulled out a badge. The guy with the laptop stood badge in hand. The couple by the window, both cops. They surrounded Kinsley's table. Kinsley Harmon, Seattle Police, you're under arrest. You set me up. She lunged for the door. A male officer blocked her path. Wilson pulled out handcuffs. Attempted murder of 2 people, conspiracy to commit murder, arson, insurance fraud. We could have been happy, she screamed at me as they cuffed her. Chad and I, we could have... Chad Lawson's in custody, ma'am, Wilson said calmly. He's cooperating with the prosecution. She froze. What? We picked him up this morning, I said. He confessed. Gave us the arsonists' names. He sold you out, Kinsley. Told them it was all your idea. No, he wouldn't. Plea deal, Wilson said. 20 years instead of life. As they led her toward the door, she looked back at me one last time. I expected anger, regret, fear. Instead, I saw relief. She was relieved it was over, relieved she didn't have to pretend anymore. I hate you, she said quietly. I hate you, Liam. I know, I said. You always did. I just didn't see it. As they led Kinsley away through the crowded cafe, she looked back one final time. And in her eyes, I saw something that would haunt me far longer than her hatred relief. She was relieved she didn't have to pretend to love us anymore. After 15 years of wearing a mask, she could finally take it off. The trial lasted 4 weeks. The prosecution built an airtight case. Detective Wilson testified about the wire recording Kinsley's voice, clear as crystal, confessing to murder for hire. They played it in that packed courthouse. I hired them. I studied his blueprints. I wanted him and Lucas in that house. Lucas wasn't there. Emberlyn made sure, but I was. I watched the jury's faces. Kinsley's defense tried everything: coerced confession, emotional distress, temporary insanity. Then the prosecution introduced the evidence from her Honda, the burner phone texts. What about the boy? Collateral damage. My blueprints, her handwriting. Sabotage here, make it look like his design flaw. Bank records. 50,000 in cash withdrawal the week before the fire. Chad testified. Plea deal. 20 years instead of life. He claimed Kinsley masterminded everything, promised him $3 million, said I'd designed a system perfect for an accident. The two arsonists testified, described how Kinsley provided the key, the blueprints, explicit instructions, paid them $20,000 each. And I testified about Lucas's warning, about hiding across the street, about watching two men use a key my wife provided to burn down my house with my son inside. The jury deliberated 6 hours. Guilty, all counts. Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, arson, insurance fraud. 25 years. I felt nothing, no relief, no victory, just emptiness. Outside the courthouse, Lucas held my hand. He was 9 now, taller, quieter. Dad, is Mom coming home? Nobody, not for a very long time. He nodded, then so softly, good. That word broke something in me. 6 months later, we'd built a new life from the ashes. The divorce was finalized. I got full custody. The court terminated Kinsley's parental rights. Attempted murder of your own child tends to do that. I sold the Lake City plot. Couldn't rebuild there. Too many ghosts. Bought a smaller house in Ballard. 1 story. No gas system. All electric. Lucas helped to pick it out. He needed that control. The insurance payout came through. $1.2 million for the house and contents. Blood money. I put it in a trust for Lucas's future and donated $100,000 to a children's trauma center. Boeing offered me extended leave. I didn't go back. Couldn't. Every blueprint reminded me of how Kinsley weaponized my work. I took a position teaching engineering safety at the University of Washington. How systems fail and why engineers must anticipate malicious use. My students think I'm intense. They don't know why. Lucas started 4th grade. His teachers know what happened. Simplified version. They watch for signs. The nightmares come less often now. Used to be every night. Lucas would wake up screaming, smelling smoke that wasn't there. We do therapy. Twice a week for him, once for me. Dr. Beatrice Wells specializes in childhood trauma. She says Lucas shows classic PTSD symptoms, hypervigilance, trust issues, fear of abandonment. He saved your life, she told me once. But he also lost his childhood the moment he realized his mother wanted him dead. My own therapist focuses on survivors' guilt and trust. I haven't dated. Can't imagine it. How do you trust again after the person who promised to love you hired people to kill your child? Lucas asks sometimes, Dad, why did Mom want us to die? I don't have good answers. Dr. Wells says he needs honest truth, age appropriate. Sometimes people get lost inside themselves. They make terrible choices. It wasn't your fault. Or mine. It was hers. He always nods, but I see it in his eyes. The same question I ask myself. How do you reconcile that the person who gave birth to you calculated your death as acceptable collateral damage? We're healing, slowly. But we're different now. Lucas doesn't trust easily, neither do I. The fire took our house. Kinsley's betrayal took something deeper. Our innocence. The belief that people we love won't hurt us. 3 years and 2 months after the night I chose to believe my son at SeaTac Airport, I sat on our Greenwood porch watching Lucas. Now 11 play basketball with his best friend Connor. The sound of his laughter was everything. I sipped coffee from the mug Lucas gave me last Christmas. World's best dad in crooked letters. I kept it on my university desk. My students thought it was sweet. They didn't know it was a medal. Lucas jogged over breathless. Dad, can I get water? I handed him the bottle. He collapsed beside me. Connor's dad is taking us to the Mariners game next Saturday. Can I go? Of course. Text me when you arrive and leave. He rolled his eyes. Dad, I'm 11, not 8 anymore. And I'm your father who almost lost you. Humor me. Quick side hug. Yeah. The nightmares came once a month now. Therapy monthly. He still checked locks at night. Probably always would, but it wasn't panic anymore. Just routine. He had friends. Played basketball. Wanted to be a civil engineer. Building bridges, Dad. Things that connect people, not houses that... He stopped. Didn't finish. I understood. I taught at the University of Washington 3 years now. Engineering safety. Teaching fail-safes. Preventing catastrophic failures. My tragedy became my mission. But I couldn't design anymore. Tried once. Panic attacks staring at blueprints. Every line I saw her notes. Her sabotage. That loss still hurt. But I'd accepted it. Teacher now, not builder. That's okay. Connor left. Lucas returned and sat beside me. Dad, can I ask something? Always. Do you ever think about Mom? Every day. Surprise in his eyes. Really? Yeah, not the way I used to, but yeah. Do you hate her? Pause. No. I hate what she did. But hate costs energy I'd rather spend on you teaching living. His voice quieted. I got a letter. From Mom. Prison. Last week. My heart stopped. Want to open it? Part of me wants to understand why. Part doesn't care anymore. Whatever you decide, I support you. But Lucas, you don't owe her forgiveness. You don't owe her anything. Did you forgive her? Long breath. No, but I let her go. There's a difference. Forgiveness means saying what she did is okay now. I'll never say that. Letting go means I won't carry the weight of her choices anymore. That I can do. Processing. So letting go is for me, not her. Exactly, you're smart, son. Lucas went inside. I sat alone. What haunts me isn't the fire, not the two men in black, not the trial or confession. What haunts me is knowing that for 15 years I shared my life with someone who saw us as obstacles, problems to eliminate. I'll never know when it changed, if it changed, or if she never loved me. Did she always wear a mask, feel real joy holding baby Lucas, or calculate even then? Every memory is suspect. Happy at our wedding or counting my salary. Her IVF grief, real or resentment. Did she ever love our son, or was he always collateral damage? Those are the ghosts, 15 years of false memories. That's what haunts me, probably always will. Lucas stepped out wearing Connor's jersey. Dad going to Connor's, back for dinner. 6 o'clock, your turn to set the table. Grabbed his bike, turned back. Hey Dad, thanks for believing me that night at the airport. Throat tightened. Always, son, I'll always believe you. Smiled. I know, that's why we're okay now. He pedaled away. I watched him disappear. She didn't win. She tried to erase us, burn us away, turn us into insurance money. But we're still here. Wounded, yes. Changed, absolutely. But here. Healing. Moving forward. My 8-year-old warned me about his mother, and what happened next still haunts me. It does. Probably always will. But haunted isn't the same as lost. We survived. We're rebuilding. Every day Lucas wakes safe and loved is a day we win. We carry scars, but we also carry victory. And that is all that matters now. If you're hearing this true story, I need you to understand something. I ignored the warning signs for 15 years. The emotional distance, the cold calculations, the way Kinsley never truly bonded with Lucas. I told myself it was normal. That marriage was hard. That love changes over time. Don't be like me. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, a partner who seems detached, a relationship that feels transactional, a spouse who views your child as burden rather than blessing, don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Don't wait until someone hires arsonists. The lesson I learned, the one I teach my engineering students now, is this: systems fail when we ignore small cracks. Relationships are no different. That tiny doubt, that uncomfortable feeling, that moment when you wonder if you really know the person beside you, pay attention to it. I'm grateful to God that Lucas had the courage to warn me. That 8-year-old boy saved both our lives because he trusted himself when I'd stopped trusting my own judgment. This true story isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Check the locks. Listen to your children. Trust your gut. And never ever assume that because someone shares your bed, they share your values. This is one of those grandpa stories I'll tell Lucas's children someday, not to traumatize them, but to teach them vigilance. That's the true story of survival, paying attention before the fire starts. If this true story resonated with you, please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Subscribe to Grandpa Stories for more real-life lessons, and hit that share button. You never know whose life might need to hear this. Your engagement helps these Grandpa Stories reach people who need them most. Stay safe out there, friends.